Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Depending on where you're located, thanks for being here for our Wednesday night, first Wednesday Max session. I'm Rick Ganelli, Director of Music Administration Outreach, and always so happy to have you with us. You saw the video on Consumer Institute. Before we get started tonight with our program, while I really want to encourage you to consider joining us at Consumer Institute this year, preferably in person, because we've just been waiting for this to happen again for a long time, but there's also going to be a virtual option. It's a great 3.5 days of professional development with some of the best music educators that you can find anywhere. So please consider joining us. It's in Mishawaka, Indiana, which is right outside of South Bend. It's going to be a great time. We also, if you're in charge of other staff members for their professional development and you'd like to send them to Consumer Institute, either in person or virtually, we've got a great deal for you. We've made it special for administrators so that you can send groups of people. It's $149 each if you send 10 or more. And then it is $79 each for the virtual component. So we'd love for you to take advantage of that. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And Beth is probably going to drop some things in our chat box so that you have that information. Also want to let you know about a really exciting development that we're almost putting the final touches on here, hopefully by the end of the week. And that is our Music Administration Collaborative event at NAM, the National Association for Music Merchants. This is going to happen in Anaheim, California on June 4th. We have a whole day plan with the music education programs that NAM is putting on, along with our MAC sessions that we're going to do. It's going to be great. It's super reasonable to join. It's $49 to be a member of NAM for that weekend, and that gets you all the fun stuff along that NAM offers, as well as all of our sessions. So mark your calendars. We're going to be sending out more information. Watch for it on Facebook and social media here, hopefully in the next few days. So great. I want to introduce Joe Clark, who is the Director of Performing and Visual Arts in Spring ISD, as my co-host. And I know Joe Clark was working hard on getting several other people to be on the session, and he shared his link with several people. And so we have a number of Joe Clarks on the screen. So will the real Joe Clark?
Listen, when they tell you that link is very specific, they mean it. So guys, be careful how you share it, obviously.
There you go, Joe.
That was not on purpose. I apologize.
Thanks for joining us. And I see a lot of other familiar faces and names that we've worked with from around the country. So we're so glad that you're here with us. We've got a really great session for you tonight. Dr. John Gallagher, who is the Fine Arts Director out in New York. He'll give you some specifics about his background, but he's with us, and he has gotten very involved in public relations and is going to talk with us today about how public relations and music education can and should work together. We've already, we were just talking earlier, there are a few horror stories out there about some people that make poor decisions when they do things publicly and gets them on the news for the wrong reasons. So hopefully Dr. Gallagher will point us all in the right direction. So John, thank you for being here, and welcome to the Music Administration Collaborative.
Rick, thank you very much. And the real Joe Clark, it was great to finally speak to you. It's great to have that connection there with the Spring ISD. Very, very fond memories for me. My entire family was born in Philadelphia. And in 1977, my father's company transferred us down to Spring, Texas, a relatively new housing development down there. I went to Winship Elementary School, Wunchie Middle School, and then up to Spring High School. And my band directors included Scott McAdoo. And then at the end of my sophomore year, we got transferred up here to Long Island. That was 1985. But really just, such fond memories. Of course, you're growing up, you're finding yourself, you're 10, 12, 13, 15 years old, and you remember everything from that time in your life. And certainly my time in spring is very, very special to me. So I always like to follow you guys, or at least follow the school district, follow the music program. So it's really great to see you.
Yeah, and for those of you that maybe don't know or haven't made the connection, I'm the former fine arts director in Spring. Joe Clark is the current fine arts director in Spring, and it was just this wonderful coincidence that John was also here in his earlier years. So John, tell us how you ended up getting into fine arts administration, and then more so into the public relations world.
The public relations started first. And, really, I guess before I get going, I do want to say hello to Dr. Tim. I haven't seen him since he came to NISMA All-State a couple years ago. And before that was my trip out to Indy during the CSI Collaborative. So it's great to see you, Tim, as well. When I graduated high school, I got a scholarship to play in the band at St. John's University. If you guys know the Big East basketball, Lou Carnesecca was still coaching back in 1987. Didn't really know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I thought maybe I'd want to get back to Houston somehow. My friends are there. Everything that I remember is there. Marching band was there. McAdoo was there, the whole thing. But, that just wasn't to be. I graduated Kings Park High School here on Long Island, and I got a scholarship to go to St. John's. They were going to pay half my tuition to play my trombone courtside at Madison Square Garden for all the Big East games. My father said, that's where you're going to school. So I wound up just having to find something to major in. And I like to tell this story. I never really saw any band director, as silly as this sounds, as a teacher. My teachers were physics and English and algebra. And then we went to band, and we had concert season and we had festival season, and we got to do all these fun things. I never really thought of a major in music education. I thought if I went on to get a music degree, that meant performance. And I was not going to make my living as a professional musician. So I never thought to be a music educator. So at St. John's, I got involved with journalism, with the school paper, the school television and radio production facilities. And St. John's University, as you may know, it's located in Queens, New York, a couple of subway rides away from New York City. And the TV and radio production facilities at St. John's are comparable to what the networks have in Midtown Manhattan. So I just thought that's where I was going to go. So along the route, the other courses that I'm taking, advertising and media ethics and public relations and writing and public speaking, that's kind of where I went. And I thought, okay, if I get a bachelor's degree in communications, maybe I won't go into TV production like I thought I would. Maybe I could go into arts management. Maybe I could do PR for an orchestra, or, do something like that to keep my interests in music alive with this business training that I now have. That wasn't to be either. I worked for a couple of ad agencies in New York City. I worked for a major public relations firm. I did some freelance journalism work when I realized that this is now the mid-90s, when the economy wasn't doing well either. I couldn't get it through my head why I was being let go from all these different jobs. It's like you start, it's like, well, they keep downsizing. Well, now that company's downsizing too. Doesn't really do much for your confidence as a young college graduate. You think you have the whole world at your fingertips. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm tired of this. Maybe I should go back to school. So a mentor of mine, I used to help teach his competitive marching band. And yes, they had one in Queens, New York, a competitive marching band. So because I had marched senior drum corps and I had come from Texas, and that was really my interest, this gentleman became my mentor, became my friend. He helped me go back to school. He had his doctorate from NYU. So anything he told me to do, I did. Holding a bachelor's degree in communications, I went back to school and took some undergraduate and graduate music and music ed courses, learned how to become a certified music educator here in New York. I did. I went on to become the marching band director that I wanted to be, but along the way taught kindergarten general music and high school theory and junior high general music and band, jazz band, the whole thing. And then I figured here in New York, and maybe like other states as well, you can pursue now additional certification to move over in your salary scale, bachelor's degree, bachelor's plus 15 we have, plus 30, then master's plus 15, plus 30. So I said, well, I've already got the master's degree in music ed. Let me keep going. So I got the second master's in school administration and wound up becoming director of music and fine arts here in the Longwood School District. We're in Eastern Long Island. So if you know the map of Long Island, the Twin Forks, Longwood is right about here, almost where the Twin Forks split. I've been here since 2006. But along the way, I had come across some colleagues of mine from NISMA, the New York State School Music Association. A few of you may know the name Joe Sugar. Joe was my professor as I was going back to school, and he said, you used to do public relations? NISMA needs, I'll never forget it, NISMA needs somebody like you. I joined the executive board in 2002, and I became NISMA's media spokesperson. How we get the president quoted in the New York Times, what are the benefits of music education, knowing all the lines, the correct lines to say to a reporter when they put the microphone in your face to say, hey, what's going on? So I write their news releases. I continue to do so. I parlayed that into my doctoral research. What kind of an advocate are you as a school district administrator or as a music educator? You enter this field of music education where all of us tell each other, you've got to advocate for music education. How many of us know what that means or how to do it? Well, you can say, hey, the marching band just won a championship. Here's a picture. Yeah, that's great. Advocacy and public relations is an ongoing thing. You have to know how to write. You have to know your target audiences. There was a lot of marketing and communication jargon that I infuse into my seminars. You'll see it in the presentation here. So my doctoral research was on that as well. So if I can go ahead and share the share my screen here, we could get into it. All right, everybody can see this. I'll just transform it here and okay. So this is it, how music education and PR really should work hand in hand. First and foremost, you're the expert. You know what you're doing in your program. You know the difference between a wind ensemble and a chamber orchestra. How you use public relations techniques to garner the support and the knowledge and the help from your public is what really is paramount, because in bad times, you're going to need to know who the people are that can help you. You're going to have to explain the benefits of everything that you've done, any kind of cross-curricular projects, any spring musical that's opening, any marching band championships, things like that. But right here in reality, music educators and administrators should have a working knowledge of who their audiences are and working knowledge of PR techniques, just basic things. There's a difference between being an advocate and being a lobbyist, and maybe the definitions are different in the different states that we live in. But to advocate is to plead in favor of a cause. We're all music advocates because we're pleading to people about our cause, the benefits of being in a music program, what it does for students' social and emotional learning, what it does to enhance the work of the brain, all this brain research that's out there about how musicians do better in school. I don't really like the campaigns that come across that say you should join the music program because you're going to get smarter. Well, yeah, that's true, but you should want to join it just for the benefit of the music education itself. And all that will come. It's going to come later, but you should really want to join for the music itself. Here in New York State, a lobbyist is, for the most part, a paid person who is paid to go up and try to change the law in your favor. The New York State School Music Association is not a lobbying organization. I don't know many that are, especially with the 501c3 status that they would have, where they really can't go and petition the change of a law. PR really is free. It's not advertising. Advertising you have to pay for. You have to pay for a spot in the newspaper, for an ad on Facebook, but PR is a free tool to disseminate the information that you need to get out to your public and to your community. And you doing it effectively will attain those relationships that you're looking for. And you say, well, why? Why do I need to do this? You know, again, this may not be the right audience to ask that question to, because we do know why. The threats of cuts and continuing the music program during the pandemic, all the different music and art department events that we produce. Of course, the all county, the all state, we have all Eastern, we have all national, of course, to really just brag about those students. It's a big deal to have those kids selected for festivals like that. We know that. Your marching band championships, and maybe the more simpler thing, your concerts. You know, the public should know that this is for the most part the final exam. We share our final exam in our subject area with the whole community. And of course, different out-of-state performances. Your marching band's going to the Rose Bowl. You're going to Music for All's All National Festival, things like that. It's one more thing to do, yes, but in the long run, it makes your job easier. To get out there, shake hands, kiss babies, be a politician, right? It's more than publicizing one event. You've got to be out there. Publicizing one event is promoting that one event. You got to be concerned with an ongoing effort. It's got to be continuous, and it's got to reach further than promoting just one single event. As the director of music and art for the district, you know, I look at everything: theater and our visual art program, of course, our music program. This is a local bagel store here. I don't know how many people have had real New York bagels, but we've got one right here around the corner from where I am. And we like to have our art kids go up and decorate this, the windows here, this whole shopping center. How many of you have participated in Tuba Christmas? Only in New York can you rehearse in the basement next to the dumpster in Rockefeller Center before you go out on the ice to perform. And that's basically what we were doing. These are our kids. Picture we took a few years ago. Actually, this young gentleman now, I believe he was in 8th grade. He's now a senior at the Crane School of Music. He just did his tuba recital online. And we all know these different promotional programs that we can get involved in. I had created the Long Island Scholar Artist Awards. We have a program here for athletes. And God bless them. Athletics are wonderful, and it shows that athletes can be intelligent, and they can be on the honor roll as well. It's called the Scholar Athlete Program. They're featured on our local news channel. And with everything that I know to be good about music and the arts, I said, why don't we have a program that promotes the arts? These kids are always the Vals and the Sals. They're in the top 10 of the graduating class. They're in the top 20%. Where's something for them? So short of sounding self-serving, I saw a need. And I said, we need to create something. It was based on this program here called Scholastic Art Spotlight. I had heard about this program up in northern New York State, up in Rochester. So at our NISMA All-State Conference 15 years ago, they had made a presentation on what their program was like. I sponsored it as NISMA's public relations chairperson, and I took a flyer myself. And I said, let's bring this back to Long Island. So we promote students in music, visual art, media art, dance, and theater with an academic average of 90 or above, and we spotlight them in print. So we're really very proud of the Scholar Artist Awards. And how do you market your program? Here's some of that jargon again. You're marketing your program. Do what we do best. Get out there and perform. You've got all these kids, you've got chamber orchestras, you've got a small woodwind quintet, you've got a 1940s big band, you've got a marching band that may want to, may get called to be in a commercial. Rick and Joe I don't know if you guys remember when the Goodyear Blimp base was there across from 45, that shopping center that's there now, the Great Green Marching Machine was asked to be at that mall opening, and we were on TV. And I, to my dying day, I will never forget that. But it's very easy for us to get out there and perform. Here on Long Island, we have special days of. Our Suffolk County Music Educators Association, SCMEA, runs SCMEA Day of Tuba, Day of Percussion, Day of French Horn. They created these days to bring spotlight to these instruments that we band directors are always saying we never have enough of. So it's a day of 300 tuba players come, 100 percussionists there with their marimbas, timpanis, snare drums, 400 French horn players show up, all to play together. Brag about your kids going into New York City and playing on the ice at Rockefeller Center under the statue of Atlas in the NBC Plaza during Tuba Christmas. Get out there and go to your senior citizen center, your hospitals, work with town hall, work with your local art galleries. That's how you're marketing and how you relate to the media. The media is always hungry for information, but you got to be careful with how they work because they will twist. You talk about spin doctors, PR people spin a subject of a story that they want covered, but the media will only come out and cover your concert or your day of tuba or your spring musical only if they feel they can use it to get ratings, that if it's going to benefit their audience. We think the all-county concert is wonderful. We got all the best kids in the county. Well, our local news channel may or may not care, depending on what else is going on in the world and locally. But if you can use them effectively, if you have a parent that actually works for that may be a newspaper reporter, may work in social media or somehow, that's some leverage there to get coverage for your events. School districts often see the media as an us versus them mentality. It really shouldn't be. School superintendents don't want the local news channel on the grounds because if there, God forbid, there was something horrible that happened, or even if it was something relatively simple, like a boiler exploding, the media would twist it that, well, why did it take so long for the school district to invest? No, they don't want to get into that. But it really shouldn't be an us versus them. There should be a partnership, but I think, those of us in the know better. So I don't know how. Of course you don't know how. Music educators took their methods course, they took their jazz history course, they took their composition courses, but they don't take marketing courses, do they? They don't take PR or writing or public speaking courses. They don't take business courses. No, because there's no room in the program. But the general weakness is there. And I like to think that your professional associations, whether it be a NISMA or a NAFME or a ConSelmer, can teach teachers how to be publicists and marketers of their programs. If you're having a meeting, if you need an idea for an upcoming PD session, call your local reporter, your local editor of the big media outlet, a local TV reporter. Have them come to you. We've done that a couple of times now. We want to get our message out to you, Mr. News Reporter. How do we do that? So the reporter will tell you how to work better together that way. Your target audiences, more of this media jargon. Who are you trying to target? Who do you want to receive your message? First of all, students and their parents, of course, your local administrators, if you have a director of music, if you don't, and you're only working with your principal, your superintendent, your town board members, your local legislators, your assemblymen, your state senators. That's who you need to target to get word out. How do you communicate your vision? How do you prepare messages differently for different audiences? Do you, quite frankly, have strong interpersonal skills? Do you find yourself with the personality where you could go up to your senator and say, "Good morning, Senator. My name is John Gallagher. I'm the director of music. This is what we're doing, yada, yada." Do you realize they put their pants on the same way you do every morning? Left leg first, right leg second, or right leg first, left leg second? They're just like you. They want to work with you. They want to work for you. Give them some food, help them out so they can help you. And you got to look at your media contacts. In the print media, they have assignment editors. You can send a news release or tag them in a tweet, some kind of a social media post, where they will assign the reporter that they think would best cover your story. You've also got education editors that you want to reach, your social media, podcasters, reporters, talk show producers, local people there in your area. How do you write a news release? You want to write it the way you want the story to be seen in the paper, because if you're a good writer of a news release, you're doing the job for the reporter. and he's just going to take it and he's going to put it in there. You want to make sure, at least when you write a news release, that it's going to be read the way you want it read by the John Q. public. You want to keep it student-centered. It's not about you. It's not about your job. It's not about how great you are. It's about what the kids are doing. They're all county, they're all state, they're marching band championships. Be precise. Don't go on and on and on. Talk about the who, what, where, when, why, and how. We like to say the 5 W, the 6 W's. Who, what, where, when, why, and how should all be in that very first paragraph. You're going to see a sample of that in a minute. You want to use present tense, the fact that these kids are going or they have been selected for. Editors cut from the bottom up in a news release. That's why if you've ever seen one, the final paragraph at the bottom will be what they call a template statement. Conselmer Incorporated is a multi yada, 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 on and on and on. It's extra fodder for a reporter to use in a story about, say, Conselmer. The Spring Independent School District encompasses how many, 30, 40 square miles with how many buildings are you up to now? 35 buildings, you know, things like that. So they cut from that template statement up. You want to use short quotes, maybe from your band director, from your principal, from your superintendent, to add impact to what you're writing. The fact that somebody else in the district thinks it's a big deal too. Double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, check your spelling. Do not rely on all of these that Tim's laughing. And he's got every right to. People forget the use of two, and two, B and B, there, and there. Oh my gosh, right? You want, of course, get permission from the subject before you quote them, and usually send it out about a month before. They like to say 2 weeks. You could certainly follow up 2 weeks after you send it a month before. You don't want it to get lost in their physical inbox here on their desk or in their email inbox. The NISMA press room, we've done some of the work. These are my what we call Swiss cheese news releases. These are the templates that have holes in them that you got to fill in. The name of school district is very proud to announce the name of marching band has won the name of championship, you know, kind of thing. If I do this here, I'm going to click on this and I hope this works. I want to show this to you. I guess this is working good. This is the NISMA press room. I'm proud to maintain this. And in the press room, I've got actually a couple of pages here. So we're looking at the Swiss cheese tab here. You can see the published stories that local media has put out about the kids, and some general statements for the media about what NISMA is, what it does, about our membership, things like that. But here's some template news releases for All Eastern, All State, Music in Our Schools Month, solo festivals, going to what we call NISMA Majors, our major organization festival, where you can take your ensembles to go. These are Swiss cheese news releases here that you can just go and download, fill in the blanks, get permission, and send them out. Now, let's see now if I can, I gotta get back to the presentation, which oh, here we go. So NISMA is all over social media. On Facebook, we have a general page and a members only page. We're on Twitter and Instagram. We're very proud of that. This is one of those sample news releases here that I was talking about. 12, and you want to spell out a number. Spell out the word 12 students from name of your school district selected to All Eastern. They represented their district's music program in 2023. All Eastern's going back to Rochester, New York. You're going to start with the date and the location. Where's the story coming from? Long Island, New York, Albany, New York, Schenectady. Name of the school district, whatever your school district's name is. We're proud to announce the selection of 12 students from its music performing Eastern Division, yada, yada. Here's your Swiss cheese news releases. Name of conductor. This is a big deal here. Your students are performing with renowned conductors. Here's their names. They're from this college. They're from this National Symphony. Here's the quote from your superintendent or your principal. And here's the boilerplate statement that a reporter or an editor would probably cut out. Yes, this news release would be written by NISMA. Here's a boilerplate statement of what NISMA is all about, but we really want to talk about these kids here. A news tip idea sheet, we developed that to help keep your thoughts in order. A little checklist for you to helps keep track of who's involved, who the contact person is, what the event is, all of this stuff here. So that news tip idea sheet is in the press room as well. It helps clear your thoughts. Why are you even doing this? Why are you holding an event, a concert, the spring musical? Did you get the approvals that you need before you put anything out with the name of your school district? Do you have legal releases that are signed by parents for the use of minors? Are you going to supply digital photos to the media? Are you going to have supplementary materials, a concert program, things like that? So this news tip idea sheet just helps keep your thoughts in order. All of us that work for the New York State School Music Association, all of us volunteers, I should say, we all have different email addresses for what we do. Mine is just as basic as it can be, pr@nisma.org, as NISMA's statewide Director of Public and Media Relations. In addition to my full-time job that pays the bills and a roof over our head here in the Longwood School District, it's my pleasure to do this work for NISMA. And I've shared with my colleagues in the Midwest. I've shared with my colleagues Aaron Kahn-Selmer a few years ago, with my friends in Music for All as well. So anything we can do to really share what we do, it's my pleasure to do that. You can feel free to email me or call me, and however I can help, I'd be happy to do so. So never ask an Irishman how he's doing, because he's going to go on and on and on and tell you for a good half hour.
You're doing great. Got plenty of time. I know we had a couple of questions. Is this presentation going to be available?
I certainly could. If you want to email me at pr@nisma.org, I'll be very happy to send it back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. This has been really eye-opening from my perspective as a former fine arts director. I can remember getting so frustrated because everybody in the district was asking me to provide a musical group to go here, to go there, to do this, to go that. And I remember going, this is the fine arts department, not the entertainment department. This is what I'm saying to myself, you know. But I had to realize that if we don't do those kinds of things, then they start forgetting about all those different groups that are out there. Like you mentioned, artwork, you know, making sure, you know, that the teachers used to moan and groan that they had to get all this artwork together to be on display. But the fact is that every time a school board meeting happened, you know, all these people walked right by these hundreds of pieces of artwork. I also remember a brand new high school head director coming to me saying, I never knew how much PR was involved in this job. You know, they thought they were just going to be the head director and make all the big decisions, but it was this PR stuff. Are there some things that you've encountered that are some of the big mistakes that people have made in public relations that kind of got themselves in trouble, like the group we talked about earlier today? But does anything come to mind?
The mistakes that I've seen weren't so much PR with music education. It was really general school district public relations. When I first got my administrative license here in New York, I left the band and I went into central office, and I was a school district's public relations person, taking pictures, writing news releases, doing the calendar for the district, doing coloring books for the pre-K, working with the publisher, you know, to do things like that. There was an incident that happened before I got to this school district on September 11th. And there was a teacher who was a local EMT who was called into Lower Manhattan to go work. There was a miscommunication with central office. The school district was made to look to be the bad guy. And again, I wasn't working for that district at that time, but you talk about bad PR. The community thought that this teacher wasn't treated well by the district, that the district was trying to look at it from a contractual standpoint. So there was some, you know, things like that. You know, and then if there are any unfortunate incidents, a teacher or a principal gets into trouble with the law, then your PR machine has to kick in there. But in terms of mistakes that somebody may have made by promoting or not promoting a marching band or an all-state kid, no. And if I were to say a mistake, it would just be the not knowing where resources are to help, you know? So I really think it's incumbent upon all of the professional organizations to let music educators know that these tools are out there to help make your job easier. Yes, it is one more thing to do, to be the manager of the group, to be the publicist, to be the executive producer, in addition to observing your teachers, budgeting for next year, making sure the uniforms still fit, doing observations. Yes.
So the other thing, and I stopped myself from taking a picture recently at a national event of a former student of mine whose band was performing, and he was standing in front of the band and all the kids' faces were visible. I know, and Joe, you can help, and some of those of you that are currently in the position, is it still a pretty universal thing that students' faces are not to be published in any way without parents' permission? I know that used to be quite a thing. So
we have a thing in our school district where if you don't want your child photographed, sign a document, because we are very large. We have 3,200 students in our high school alone. So we've got about 9,000 students, across the district. It's going to happen. Our PR people are going to take photos. We're going to put it on social media. We're going to put it out into the broadcast world. If you don't want your child photographed, just let us know. It'll be nobody's business. We'll have to pull the child out from a class photo or things like that. It's been brought to my attention that the state, when you're going for your certification, the younger teachers nowadays, yes, they have to have a video camera. At least they did a few years ago. Video camera in the back of the classroom so they can record their lesson for their certification. The state tells the teacher, put the camera behind the kids, I guess for your own safety, your own reasons there, your own legal reasons. But the way we do it here in our district, it's going to happen. Just tell us if you don't want your child photographed.
And I think that's pretty similar to what we're doing in Texas too. I can speak for that. And for picture taken, one, our kids have to opt in to having their picture released. So they actually have to commit and sign. And then we can access that list and we can double check to make sure. But we also kind of, it's hard though. I agree with you. We kind of back up a little bit and we take pictures far away enough to where the kids might not be recognizable, or we go to the back, just like you said, we go in the back of their heads, which, yeah, you lose a little bit there, but yeah,
I also think it's a constant battle between the school district public relations specialists and the teachers or principals that have their own social media accounts for their building, where those people may not know that Tim Lautzenheiser's parents don't want his picture used. I know that because I got the file here in central office. So, right. It's the PR person is always saying, be careful or check with me first, because it's going to come back to haunt all of us.
Right. Great suggestions. Any other questions from the group? While we have Dr. Gallagher here, we've got an expert in the field right here and in front of us. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Feel free to unmute and or
Rick, I got my list. I have a list of questions. Can I jump? Can I ask one? Is that okay?
Oh, I guess so.
All right, I appreciate it. No, this is I have struggled just getting one question. First of all, your presentation is amazing, and I am so frustrated at how many press releases I've written, and even just you showing that, like the Swiss cheese one that you talked about. I'm like, how many hours have I struggled with writing those? So that right there is that's brilliant. So thank you so much for that resource. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
With social media, with all kinds of media, any kind of public relations, we want to see if it's being effective, right? And so we want to know what impact is happening, and we want to track the data to prove it. And there is where I struggle. What kind of data do you track? What kind of how do you measure if your communications is being received to the right audience and is successful?
I think, and I've never done it, I think you can pay Facebook to track data with them. Twitter, you can do it for free. There's something in their website where you can plug in. You want to see your results from for your PR efforts from November 15th to December 15th. I usually plug those dates in on Twitter because our NISMA All-State is always the first weekend in December. So I want to see the tweets that are leading up to that first weekend in December, and then the ones during the weekend in December, and then the ones maybe the week after. The tweets start falling off because then you're getting into your holiday concert season and things like that. Instagram, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into how you get data off of Instagram, but part of my presentation to the Executive Council when we're in Rochester is to show them that data really from the whole calendar year, because another big time for us is when we go to Albany, our state capital, to advocate for music education during NISMA's Day of Advocacy with our legislators. And about a decade ago or so, we had renamed that day the Joseph R. Sugar Day in Albany, really just for our late friend and mentor. And so I, as NISMA's PR person, I like to track who's doing what, who's retweeting it, who's clicking on the hashtags. And Twitter has that data. I can certainly send it to you, Joe, if you want. Send you a link to how I do it. But in terms of Facebook, yeah, I think you have to pay, and Instagram is owned by Facebook, so there may be something there. I've never tried it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Just as a quick follow-up, what about non-social media? Like when you write an article, when you're talking to the board members, the other kind of things just to promote and advocate for your program.
Is your question, how many times have we gotten into the local paper?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great.
Okay, because what I do, I set up Google Alerts. Google Alerts are great. I use the acronym NISMA. I have another Google Alert for New York State School Music Association, because you never know what they're going to use, the acronym or full spelling. I have another Google Alert for the Longwood School District. So anytime we're in the news, Google picks it up in a search, you get an alert on it. So there's some data that you can use with your board, your superintendent. Does Spring have its own PR person?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a whole department, whole chief. Dr. Tim?
Hi, Joe. I'm going to give you a couple words, John, and just respond on a 1 to 10 scale. Communication.
The importance of it, 10.
Yes.
10. Yep.
Relationships.
10.
The two put together.
21.
Thank you. That grand slam, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. It's all built around that.
Absolutely right.
Perfect information. Gosh, anybody else? We're getting down to the wire. We're gonna have to close down here in just a few minutes. We've got another fabulous webinar coming up right after this, the concert artistry webinar with Dr. Paula Kreider and guests. But before we close up, anything else for Dr. Gallagher? Okay.
I tell you, I really appreciate. Thank you. I really appreciate the invitation and to talk to you and see some old friends and have the connection there with Spring, and certainly to see Tim again and see all of you, and hopefully we can meet in person one time. And Pete Warshaw, I would love to be on the deck of the Starship Enterprise. I'm waiting for Captain Picard to come out the back there, so.
That's right. Okay, well, thank you everybody for being here. A lot of information was dropped in the chat. Thanks to Beth, our behind the scenes guru. So thank you, Beth, for keeping us up to speed on all of that. And John, again, much appreciated. Thank you for your time, and we may have to hook you back in sometime to do a round two with all of this.
Anytime. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Stay safe out there. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Gallagher.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. See you soon.